Enrique, could we hear Bow Down by the Westside Connection, please? Yeah, yeah! My finger licking, my head be so breezy, I could cook some chicken. Jerry curl, word is bone, rock it up.
Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? I am Kane, Isaac, whatever you want to call me. On the channel, I talk hip-hop and fashion. Please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you always stay notified whenever the kid drops. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Westside Connection's debut studio album, Bow Down. The Connect gang was comprised of Ice Cube, aka the Gangsta, Dub C, aka the Killa, and Mac 10, aka the Dope Dealer. Bow Down was released on October 22nd, 1996. It reached number 2 on Billboard and eventually went platinum, selling 1.7 million copies. 1996 was a crazy ass year, man. A lot of legendary people dropped. Hove dropped the Reasonable Doubt album. Redman had the Muddy Waters album. Pac with All Eyes on Me. He was also assassinated that same year. God rest his soul. You Had It was written by Nas. And Allen Iverson and Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, got drafted that year. 96 was for sure an unforgettable year. The Bow Down album was a declaration of war against anybody on any coast who didn't give the proper respect to the Westside Connection or the West Coast as a whole. The World Domination intro, the first track on the album, was the perfect intro. It doesn't matter how many years pass, that intro by Jonathan Hyde is so funny to me. The British accent made the whole shit funnier, man. Please go listen to that intro if you never heard it before. You're gonna die laughing, I promise you. So at this point in time, the West Coast was pretty much established. You obviously had Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Snoop, Machiavelli the Don, Corrupt, Nate Dogg, Warren G, DJ Quick. Like, there's no denying that the West Coast had the juice. The Bronx, the birthplace of hip hop, the Mecca. At this time, the East Coast didn't have as tight of a grip on the rap game as they previously did. So because of that, there was a lot of bias against artists that weren't from New York or the East Coast in general. Everyone knows that New York has probably the biggest media presence in sports, hip-hop, fashion, radio, like everything. For example, the Source magazine, New York-based, which at one point was like the most popular hip-hop magazine in the world, from the time they were founded in 1988, within the first 10 to 25 years of the Source's 5-mic rating system, their list of albums they originally gave 5 mics to were predominantly more East Coast albums than West Coast or Southern albums. I'm gonna give you guys some of the albums that were rated on the East Coast front. They gave 5 mics to A Tribe Called Quest's Instinctive Travels album, as well as the Low End Theory album. You also had Eric B and Rakim's Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, One for All by Brand Nubian, Nas's debut album Illmatic, Biggie's Life After Death, Jay-Z's Blueprint album. Then anyone outside that East Coast umbrella, you had Scarface's The Fix album, Bun B's Trill OG, America's Most Wanted by Cube, then you had Aquemini by Outkast. On top of those crazy disparities, the Source would also re-rate albums that they know they fucked up on. Like All Eyes on Me, when it first came out, wasn't even rated, but then they changed their rating to 5 mics. Like, come on, man. When I first got into hip-hop, I'm not gonna front, I definitely listened to more East Coast rappers than I did West Coast or Southern artists. I talk about 50 all the time, you guys already know what he means to me. But that East Coast bias is a real thing. I can't front. It's a real thing in hip hop, and it's 100% not cool. Look at Funk Flex. If an artist is from New York, actually scratch that. A lot of times, even if an artist is from New York, he'll be sitting there like he doesn't know what's going on. And somebody whack as hell will come on and he'll be all hyped up with the phone and shit. I think that nowadays, you got a lot of New York rappers who sound like artists from different coasts. Just like the whole drill sound that obviously they adopted from Chicago. New York doesn't really have that common sound anymore. Besides the OGs, there's no distinctive sound among new artists from New York that just sets them apart. The very issue of New York bias was the main topic of my favorite track on the album, All the Critics in New York, which was produced by Binky Mac and Ice Cube. All 3 of them went crazy on that track, but I was very impressed with Dub C especially. I don't think bro gets his credit for being lyrical as hell. I love the Pace Cube set and Mac 10. They all just had their claim to why cats from the East Coast, or anybody for that matter, couldn't fuck with them. The Connect gang also took shots at Cypress Hill on the King of the Hill track, which was produced by QD3. Cube has been a part of some devastating diss tracks. I don't think King of the Hill was better than No Vaseline, but he single-handedly by himself obliterated Cypress Hill. For those of you guys who don't know the origin story of the beef between Cypress Hill and Westside Connection, everything started when Cypress Hill let Cube listen to an unreleased track off of their upcoming album, The Temples of Boom. The song was called Throw Your Set in the Air, and when Cube heard it, he really wanted to use it for the legendary Friday movie. But Cypress Hill said no because obviously it was going to be one of the singles on their upcoming album. While Cypress Hill was on tour, they find out that Cube released a track for the Friday movie called Friday, and they used a similar hook pattern as Cypress Hill's Throw Your Set in the Air, just with different words. Cube's version was Throw Your Neighborhood in the Air with a different beat, which I thought was better than Cypress Hill's version. I've heard B Real talk about this situation a lot, but I haven't heard Cube talk about this too much. B Real and Cube were very close, and if Cube really did that shit, I love him, but I don't respect that. That's some whack ass shit, and Cypress Hill had every right to get mad. Dub C, during this whole issue with Cypress Hill, opted to stay out of the beef because he was cool with them. That's why he doesn't appear on the King of the Hill track. I really respect that, but I also respect Mac 10 for backing Ice Cube on that track. To now see that Cube and Dub C don't even rock with Mac 10 anymore is just sad to me. I don't understand why so many legendary groups break up. If there ever is a reason, like I'm sure it's always some stupid shit, but please get in the comment section and let me know why the Westside Connection is no more. Another track I really loved on this album was the Gangsta, the Killa, and the Dope Dealer, which was produced by Buddha. This track, along with the rest of the songs, was just so gangsta. I love the beat, it reminded me of like a hood western. On the track, they talk about gang culture in LA, murders being an everyday thing, drug dealing, and also fighting for survival. Every time I do these classic album reviews, there's always people out there, I'm sure, who have never heard the album before. That's low-key a reason that I revisit these classics, because I want people to know and understand why these legends must be celebrated and never forgotten. I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video. Get in the comments section and let me know what your favorite song on Bow Down was, least favorite song, and all that. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram at I'm Hurrikane Isaac 95. I'm out. Peace.